Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Oh, yeah, baby. Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, my friends, and good morning. Welcome to Thursday. How did we get to Thursday? I mean, holy cow, what a week. What a week. What a world. What a world. It is it's that time of it's tomorrow's Firearms Friday. I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. But today is also going to be fantastical in its own way. We get to talk about some of my favorite stuff today. We're going to be joined here in just a hot second. I can see her waiting patiently in the green room right now. The Eskimo Libertarian, Trupp, is going to be joining us to talk about the Libertarian Convention for the state of Alaska. That's going to be happening next weekend. And I'm excited about that. We're going to see what's going on there. And we're going to talk with her about that. And I think we'll pick her brain for a while. See how long we can hold her hostage here on the show to discuss things. And that'll be good. In hour two, it's going to be you and me. We're going to talk about the emergency meeting of the Fairbanks School Board. They're having an emergency meeting. I wonder what that's about, huh? I wonder what they're going to be talking about there. Could it be the behavior of their president? I don't know. We're gonna see. Plus some other stories, including some shouting matches in the legislature and more. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You cannot make this stuff up. All right. So we're also going to take your phone calls in hour two, not this hour, hour two. We're going to take your phone calls and see what you have to say about all the different stuff that is going on out there in the world. All right. So shall we get started? I think we shall. I think it's time to do it. We're going to talk about the Libertarian Convention coming up in the MatSu for the statewide convention, and it's going to be phenomenal. Well, parts of it anyway. Parts of it will be mediocrely adequate because I'll be there at some point. So we're joined this morning by the Eskimo Libertarian, Nalik Trupp, who is helping to put all this together and coordinating and everything else. And we welcome her to the program. Good morning, my dear. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing well. I'm caffeinating here. How are you doing?
You know, if you can't tell, I'm fully caffeinated this morning. It's all good. It's Thursday. Hey, how you doing? It's great. It's great. It's great. Coffee. Job.
I'm slightly jealous. I'm a new mom myself, so I'm hanging in there.
So you're living by that coffee, right? I mean, you're living by it. Yeah. Oh, congratulations. I meant to say congratulations, by the way, on being a new mom. I'm excited for you. I've been watching a little bit of your journey of getting to this point, and I'm pretty excited for you. So congratulations on that as well. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about, what's happening. Give us the rundown about the convention. What does it mean? Who can attend? What are you guys covering? Just tell us exactly. I guess first thing is what, where, and when, and then we'll move on from there.
Absolutely. So the Alaska State Libertarian Party Convention. For those that don't know, Alaska actually has 4 major parties, and the Alaska Libertarian Party is one of them. The convention is going to be April 5th, 6th, and 7th. The 5th is the social, so that one's going to be a lot more fun. It's going to be at Everett's. That starts at 5 p.m. You buy your own drinks, hang out with libertarians. For those that aren't registered with the Libertarian Party, this is an excellent opportunity to, meet the board, meet other libertarians, ask questions. What is libertarian platform, and the like. How do you feel about this issue? How do you feel about that issue? So that one's going to be a lot more fun, pretty laid back. And then on the 6th and 7th, that is when we get down to business. Talking about bylaws and the like. Yeah, and some of the issues that we'll be talking about. We had candidates that ran for office. So, for example, Chris By ran for representative of Alaska, and due to ranked choice voting, he was in the top 4. And so people were able to rank Chris By. And so he's going to be talking about the campaign, ranked choice voting, how it affects him, being on the debate stage, all that sort of stuff. We also had Sean Thorne. So his campaign manager will be there. Sean Thorne's actually a pilot. So, he's on rotation. Very, in fact, there's a lot of people that, they're on rotation either for the slope or they're pilots, very Alaskan issues. So some folks that we would hope would be there, well, they got to put bread on the table. And so anyways, his campaign manager will be talking about his run for senator, U.S. Senator. There's also other people that ran for office. I ran for office. So I was going to chip in my experience about running for office. I ran for MatSu Assembly District 2. And so talking about that experience, we're also going to be talking about the fishing industry, the libertarian viewpoints about fishing, including sport fishing, subsistence, trawl fishing, guiding. All those issues are very important. In fact, our current U.S. representative, a third of her campaign was about fish. So I believe that's very important to a lot of Alaskans. Let's see what else. And then it continues on into the end of Saturday, and then Sunday morning is when we meet again. We'll be talking about presidential candidates for the Libertarian Party. And so we will actually have Chase Oliver, who is one of the candidates right now, joining us for the social on Friday. So we'll be able to meet him then. And then we're going to have folks calling in on Sunday and Saturday afternoon talking about their bids. So for those that don't know, when it comes to the Libertarian Party, candidates will campaign until the national convention, which this year it'll be in May. And that's when the Libertarian Party candidate will be chosen for presidential bid.
So if you're dissatisfied with the current trajectory of your current party, or maybe you're undeclared or haven't made a decision and you just want people to get off your lawn, then maybe you should come out and see the folks at the Alaska Libertarian Party. I mean, that's the official show motto for the show for our libertarianism is hashtag get off my lawn kind of thing. So I think we should have some t-shirts made and do something like that.
I like it.
Yeah, no, it's fun stuff. So can you, and I know one of the questions that'll be asked at the Libertarian Social on Friday, I know it's going to be the biggest question will be, are you libertarian enough? I mean, that's always the question, right? Libertarian.
No one's a real libertarian except for yourself.
Are you a real libertarian? We always joke about that because that was the one thing, I've been a libertarian pretty much my entire adult life, actually even younger than that. But, that's kind of been my attitude for the longest time. But it was always a little disconcerting the first time I found people of like mind. And the question was, are you libertarian enough to be around me? And I'm just like, okay, wait a second. Can't we all just get along?
Right.
It'll be fun. But can non-Eskimos attend the event that the Eskimo Libertarian speaks of? Yes, of course. It's just you people. Man, people these days, it's great. This is her online. It's her online persona, which, by the way, if you're not following it and having a good time with her, not so much lately because she's a busy mom, but she's a kind of a hot meme machine. She does some amazing stuff on her Facebook page. You should go check it out just for fun. Let's talk a little bit about, for folks out there who've listened to this program, they probably have an inkling of what libertarianism is, but what is. And again, I know everybody's definition might be a little bit different because you're not good enough for that. But let's talk a little bit about the party itself and, what is libertarian? I mean, when we say that, it's a pretty big tent for a lot of people. So what is give us kind of the boilerplate definition for folks out there who may be asking that question.
Right. So, like elevator pitch, it all boils down to don't hurt other people and don't take their stuff or damage their stuff. So that's like super basic, and it boils down to what do you actually want the government to be in charge of. It's like, you know, I feel like a lot of times Republicans talk about small government, but they talk about it only on the economic scale, and Democrats will talk about reducing government influence on the social scale, and libertarianism is like, what should the government actually be in charge of? And libertarians a lot of times will say, protecting our rights. What does that mean?
Right.
I use the John Locke life, liberty, and property. People use pursuit of happiness, but John Locke, the original French philosopher, said life, liberty, and property. And so that is basically what it boils down to. A lot of a big issue too is taxes. A lot of people will say, taxation is theft, and I'll use taxation as extortion. And so,
Wait, taxation is theft. What do you mean? Taxation is theft.
right? And then it boils down to, well, the definition of extortion, and there's some very heated debates about that, but it's all part of the fun. But really, it boils down to like people don't realize how much influence that the government has over their lives and how much is being taken. You have to work all the way until August, and that is how much of your paycheck is going to taxes before you're actually working for yourself in a fiscal year. And so people don't realize how much of money and how much is being influenced and how little you're getting back, and people are taking their skimming off of the top. So libertarianism is about actually balancing a budget, which is a hot issue in Alaska. Our Democrats and Republicans actually balancing a budget. It took both Republicans and Democrats to get us to this point. And so people are looking for another option like libertarianism. And so a lot of people think about Javier Milei with a FOIA,
Oh man,
and his chainsaw.
About the chainsaw. We're watching Javi. That boy, I tell you what, is a sidebar for a second, but as a libertarian, watching Javier Milei go to town in Argentina and actually deliver on promises that he made during the campaign and come back and to watch. Did you watch him fire the Minister of Labor live on the air?
I did not watch it.
Oh,
I want to.
He literally fired. They were having an interview, 2 split screens, and he's like, "Did you read the memo that said?" Because they were talking about freezing the pay of the ministers, and well, I don't know. And he goes, "Fire!" He fired him live on television. It was amazing. But that's yeah, exactly. We like to see examples of that. And the basic premise. By the way, I think we always owe Matt Kibbe a nickel every time we talk about don't hurt people and don't steal their stuff. Friend of the show, Matt Kibbe, wrote a book about that. Which, if you want to dive into libertarianism and get an idea what that's about, he's got a book that's called "Don't Hurt People and Don't Take Their Stuff." It's fantastic. But that is, that's the basic premise. People want to have. We want to be left alone. We want to have personal responsibility. People be responsible for their own stuff. We want the least amount of government possible. We're not talking about anarchy or no government. We're talking about having the least amount of government possible to protect life, liberty, and property. That's what we want. We don't want foreign adventurism. We don't want overarching social welfare programs. We don't want, all the things that we hear about on a daily basis. And somebody might say, you just heard Elle say, well, you work till August, and you're like, well, no, I heard it was till April, because my taxes are only this much. Well, I think what she's talking about is every tax in every sector, in every part of your life, that the hidden taxes you don't even think about, the tax on the loaf of bread that's paid on the wheat that came in, and the tax that happens when they manufacture the gas, or, there's so many hidden taxes. By the time you see it and pay the sales tax on it, that's probably the smallest part of the tax. Or when you pay your withholding tax, that's the smallest part of the tax. The majority of these things have been taxed multiple times by the time it gets to you. And it is true that this is kind of where we live our lives right now. And it's It's an astonishing thing. We're up against the break. Eskimo Libertarian is our guest. We're going to continue this discussion here in just a moment. But the Libertarian Party convention for the state of Alaska is going to be next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, over at Everett's Resort in the MatSu, right over there above the lake. Nice facility. And they're going to have a surprise guest on Saturday, that really shouldn't be that much of a surprise, quite honestly. We're gonna be back with more and talk with her in just a moment. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty based, free thinking radio.
Your mental suppository. The Michael Duke Show.
Yes. Your mental suppository. Yes. Her and Carla are quite a pair. If you've ever watched Art by Carla and Eskimo Libertarian together, they make quite a pair. There's been a lot of great stuff out there on that. Yes, is that on YouTube? If you're talking about the Javier Miller firing the Minister of Labor, yes, you can. Oh, I think Brian just posted it, so you can watch it there for sure. Fox did assure us that he was being facetious about the whole non-Eskimos attending the thing. I knew you were being. I just had to chuckle about it. Al, the thing is, like you said, the Libertarian Party in the state of Alaska is one of the big four. So we got the Republicans, we got the Democrats, we got the AIP, and we got the Libertarian Party, right? Or did I get that right?
Yeah, Libertarian Party.
Yeah, Libertarian Party. So, but we're always scrambling. I was so grateful to be able to vote last year for Chris By and Sean Thorne. I thought that was fantastic. And through the miracle and the madness of ranked choice voting, I was actually still able to vote for, I was able to do that. And unfortunately, I have so many problems with that in and of itself. Is the party going to take a position on the ranked choice voting issue, since that's going to be one of the big issues coming up? I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but I'm curious as to what the overall, because I know that I dislike it. Chris and I have had a conversation about it, that he's like, no, he's for it because it's the only way he was able to get to the ballot. And, there was some things like that. But is the party going to take a position on that, or is there any thoughts running around in discussion about that by any chance?
Yeah, the Libertarian Party has come out in favor of ranked choice voting. People have asked me quite a bit. Even when I was running for office, people asked about it, even though it wasn't a factor in my campaign. And we are very much for it. It gives people a more meaningful vote. We believe that the duopoly has had such a stronghold on campaigns. In fact, people don't know this, or a lot of people don't know about this, but the Republican and Democrat parties are given millions, tens of millions of dollars for presidential campaigns, but no other party is given resources and access like the Republican and Democrats. But people don't fall under just two ideologies, and it's become very how do I put it is really been breaking down how people interact with each other online and about politics and stuff. People have a wide range of political ideologies and what they think will work best in a community. It's not just under two. So ranked choice voting, I believe, crumbles that down and gives people more of a meaning with their vote. I mean, when I was able to rank Chris By first, I felt very confident in that, like I had a meaningful vote, and like, well, if not him, then who else would I rather have? I believe a lot of Republicans are against it, but they don't realize how they can use it to have the best Republican that best suits them in office. And if not that, what's the second best Republican that they can have in office? Instead, we saw a lot of mudslinging in campaigns, and it's like, well, I want this Republican. I definitely don't want this Republican. So I will vote Democrat
Right.
first before I vote for that Republican.
And
So
that's a Republican issue of circling the wagons and shooting inwards. That's been a problem for years, running multiple candidates in the same race against each other, weakening each other until they face off against a stronger Democrat. That's been a problem for a long time, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, while I disagree overall, I see that there are components of ranked choice that do work in that favor, but I'm also concerned looking at historical data to show that it weakens everything and it ends up being the one who appears to be the most moderate, usually the liberal, that ends up in the race and that winning the race. And that, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. And you're right. The duopoly has to end. Now, is this the answer to ending it? I'm not convinced of that, but it does have to end. You're 100% right. People need to have a third choice. Or a fourth choice, or a fifth choice at that point. All right, Eskimo Libertarian, our guest. We're going to continue here in just a minute. We'll get to that, Brian, here in just a second during the next break. The Michael Duke Show. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things, the YouTube-y things and all that stuff. Let's get back to it and jump back in right now.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke Show.
That's hurtful. That's really hurtful. I'm not. My dad's in the chat room. Ask my dad. Am I a pain? Wait, don't ask my dad. Never mind. Don't ask my dad. It'll be fine. Eskimo Libertarian Nalik Trupp joins us here to talk about the Libertarian Party in the state of Alaska. And we're highlighting the fact that next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is the statewide convention for libertarians getting together, which is always an exciting time. It's always an interesting thing. I attended a party convention. I spoke at a party convention here about 7 years ago. And it's always an interesting exchange of ideas, and I always love it. And I hope that more people would like to get involved and come on down and be part of it and check it out. On Saturday, they're having a luncheon, and they ran out of guest ideas. So then they invited me to come down there and say, if you didn't give me a topic either, which is a dangerous thing for you. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have me come in there and say a few words before we all fill our faces with food. That's a dangerous thing. That is a dangerous thing, young lady.
I have faith in you.
I'm sure there will be some topic, right? Well, walk in there and just yell, "Get off my lawn," and then sit back down and eat. That'll be the thing.
And then a thunderous applause.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you could ask for. People say, here's the thing that I get tired of, and I'm sure you probably heard this. I heard the same thing during the 2016 election, during the 2020 election, going back years and years and years. And they're like, well, I would vote for candidate X, in my case, Jeff Johnson, or Gary Johnson rather, or some other candidate, Spike Cohen, who we're going to try and get on the program here in the near future as well. Again, he's been on the program in the past, but, I would vote for them. And in fact, we were talking about RFK Jr., my wife and I, because at this point, we're looking at, when it's the lesser of two evils, everybody forgets that they're both evil. You know what I mean? And so we're looking at a third party, and Terry said she was talking to a friend of hers about RFK Jr., and the gal's like, well, I really like him, but I'm not going to vote for him because he won't win. And I'm just like, is that what it's come down to? It's come down to kind of a popularity contest where you don't want to vote for a loser. He's your best choice, but you don't want to vote for him or her because they may not win. I mean, is that what we're down to these days, is you can't stand by your vote? And I mean, I've been accused because I voted for, I remember somebody said something about, somebody said, who are you voting for? And I said, Gary Johnson. When it was the Trump and Clinton showdown, and they're like, well, you're just giving your vote to Clinton, and I'm sure somebody else on the other side, you're just giving your vote to Trump. And I'm just like, wait a minute, how did I actually voted for another person? How does that work? How do you react to that? Because I'm sure you've heard that same thing a million times in this regard. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be treating this as if we're betting on horses. And so, well, let's say you do vote for, you know, uh, one of the two major parties. Are you actually winning? Like, let's say you vote for someone, they get elected. Are you actually winning? Are you getting what you want? I mean, take a look at the national debt. We're, what is it now? 37 trillion. I can't keep up how many
38
trillions of dollars
trillion,
we are.
38 trillion, and $1.2 trillion in debt service this year. That's how much we're going to be paying on the service of the debt is 1.2 up 30% from last year. We were $900 billion. 1.2 something trillion is the estimated payment this year. 30% a year. If that goes up 30% a year, just do the math on that after a 10-year period. I'm sorry. I sidebarred you. I apologize.
No worries. But yes, so are we actually winning if we vote for someone that you think, according to the polls that the media is giving you, are you winning? So, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. As I said before, it took both Republicans and Democrats to get us to this point, and their parties are becoming closer and closer in ideologies, despite what you see on the internet. We're so far in debt. We've been, having our rights shaved away every year. Uh, Anyways, so vote for someone who you want to have in office. And also, libertarians are winning each election. In my election, there were 3 individuals. I got second place with 30% of the vote, over 30% of the vote. Uh, Winning is possible. And uh, it's about voting for your conscience. I'm going to sleep well tonight because I voted for someone that I believe will be best in office. Voting for the lesser two evils has given us Trump and Biden. I know there are Trump supporters in the comment section. I might upset some of them, but realistically, Trump has been, a New York Democrat for so long, and now he is on the Republican ballot. He's been shaving away our Second Amendment rights. He put Fauci in power. Uh, a lot of people forget about that. He promoted the lockdowns and still is very for the vaccine. So uh, if you take a look at it, I mean, this is who we
I
have,
know.
and then we have Biden, and
Yeah,
I don't know
The
what else.
Muppet in chief. Yeah, I mean the meat puppet. I mean, no, exactly. I mean, I've said it on the program. You can upset people. I mean, we're libertarians. Of course, everybody's going to hate us. It's always how I start things off. I'm a libertarian, so that means everybody's mad at me. This is this is part of the problem. I mean, we forget to point out that the lesser of two evils is still evil, still, subverts your Second Amendment rights, still stood up for bigger government, even though he espoused that he didn't. And, as you said, it's more opportunism than anything else that I see going on there. And now, if you're asking me, well, who would you rather see in office, team one or team two? Well, of course, of the two, he is the lesser of two evils. Okay, so if you're asking me, holding a gun to my head and saying, yes, which one? Sure, of course. I'd rather see him than than the Muppet. No problem. But my choice is, it's like saying, would you like a poop milkshake or a diarrhea sandwich? And I'm like, I don't want either one of those. Where's the turkey? Give me some ham. Do something. I would like something with actual bread on it. You know what I mean? So I will always vote and quote unquote throw away my vote on somebody that I believe in, whether it's ranked choice voting or not. I will always do that simply because I cannot stomach voting for what I perceive to be evil, right? Or deception or whatever it is. I mean, I can't stand that. And when somebody says that, I like what your analogy of we're not betting on a horse race, because I could see that. If you're saying, oh, well, you threw away your, sure, if I was voting for the dark horse over here that probably statistically has no chance of winning, but I still felt good about my vote, it's not like I'm throwing money away at it. I'm just voting my conscience. And I get tired of people chastising others for saying your vote for candidate X, the outrunner, is a vote for either one or the, depending on who you're talking to. Oh, you gave my opponent, or you gave my opponent away. It's the most ridiculous thing. If people just stood by their principles and voted for who they believed in, I think, and stopped participating in this two-party train wreck, I think that more people would, that we would see more libertarians or independents or constitutionalists or whoever you're voting for be able to come in there and potentially make a difference.
Exactly. And I think we need people that are outside of the duopoly, someone that's closer to Javier Milei, I want to see someone bring a chainsaw to DC first off,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually go to the omnibus bill with a chainsaw. Stop spending trillions of dollars. We need
Wait, you mean
something like that.
actually do your job? I mean, actually actually do governance like the founders intended, with 12 separate appropriations bills every year that goes through it line by line, and they actually have a debate on the floor and discuss each one, and then take a vote on each one instead of smashing it all together and let the leadership browbeat you into voting for it? Wow,
Crazy.
that's radical. That's a radical
Too
idea, El.
radical.
You are a radical. But I mean, people. The problem is that most people don't understand this kind of stuff to the level of what we're talking about. They don't understand what a continuing resolution is. They don't understand, and it's not like I can. I mean, I can blame them, but I'm not saying you should get down into the minutia of how government works, but we should have at least a basic understanding of that kind of stuff, and we should demand accountability from our politicians. But instead, over the years, it's just we've let it go. We've let it go, and we're getting the government we deserve, right? When you stop paying attention, this is what we get when you stop paying attention, is you get a government like we have right now, where we are borrowing tens of thousands of dollars a second, and adding to the debt by the trillions. And just, it reminds me of the dog in the house with, on fire with a coffee cup saying, "This is fine. This is fine." I mean, that's where we're at, right? I mean, yeah, this is fine.
This is
That's
fine.
where we're at today.
Absolutely. It's turned into a violent, oversized HOA, as I like to envision it. When I was running for assembly, I was telling folks, like, I'm not going to run the assembly as an oversized HOA. We look at some of the stuff that has been passing through, talking about more local issues. They're saying how much gravel you can sell from your land. And then if you want to sell more gravel, you have to go to the assembly and get permission and have people talk about your land. It's like, whoa, hold on. Libertarian solution is this is your property. You know, um, People are even talking to me about, like, my neighbor, their yard is such trash. And it's like, well, that's their
Right.
property.
Yeah.
You don't get to
You
tell them how they get to do their
You
property.
could have bought their property, right? I mean, that's the thing. People say, because I was on the assembly in Fairbanks, and private property rights was a huge thing for me. And they're like, well, the guy down the street, he's got a blue tarp over his garage and everything else. They moved in, and then 2 years later, and I said, well, when they bought the property, did you have the option to buy the property before they did? Well, yes, but then shut up, because you had the opportunity to buy the property. You could have done whatever you want with it. You could put up a fence so you don't have to look at them. Are they leaking toxic waste onto your property? Are they damaging or hurting you in some way? No? Shut up. That's pretty much what it is. It's private property. You don't pay their taxes. They pay their taxes. They do everything else. Leave them be. And that's, we become this kind of nanny state busybody mentality. Government has become the solution to every problem. And that's what we see at these local level. Like you said, how much gravel can I sell? I'm going to sell whatever I want off my property. Come on down. You want to talk about it? Come on down. But until you start paying my property taxes, and dealing with all the minutia that I have to deal with to own the property, get off my lawn. I'm sorry. Was that the mic drop?
No.
That was the mic drop moment.
I was letting it resonate there for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Echo,
absolutely.
echo,
And when it comes to the government, people don't realize, like you had said before, it's a popularity contest. How are they more qualified to regulate what our economy is doing and how to regulate your own lives? I mean, as long as they're protecting life, liberty, and property, no one's poisoning the water hole, no one is stealing your stuff. I mean, outside of that sort of stuff, why are they dipping their hand into the cookie jar in every aspect of your life?
Well, going back to what you were saying of, having to work till August to be able to pay off every tax, and that's every hidden tax. That's taxes you don't even think about. That's the government intervening in the free market at every level. It's like, don't even get me started on death taxes, right? I mean, don't even get me started. Wait, you paid all these taxes your entire life on every bit of wealth and money that you've ever acquired over the course of your entire life. And when you die, they tax it again. I mean, I say it all the time, but if the founders of this nation were still alive today, they'd be in some tavern talking a little treason over a brew or two. You know what I mean? Because they went to war with the greatest nation on earth over a 3% tax on mail. Now, what do we have taxes on?
Tea has been thrown in the harbor for less.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing. Eskimo Libertarian is our guest. We've been talking about the State Libertarian Convention, which is happening next weekend at the MatSu, in the MatSu in Wasilla at Everett's Resort, which is out on the lake right there. It's a beautiful place. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll continue this discussion with her because I'm going to hold her over right to she's got stuff to do. She's a new mom, but she's agreed to stick with us for just a little bit here. Because we don't get a chance to talk to her as much as I'd like to. So we're going to continue this. And I'm in my element now. I mean, we're always talking about the Republicans and the Democrats, but now we're talking about my tribe.
Oh, yeah, you're fired up.
See, well, but the problem is then somebody says, but you're not a member. I know I'm not a joiner, but I'm there in spirit. That's how it works. All right, we'll continue the Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Back with more right after this.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Sadly, she lacks a beard, but that's okay. She's living on the beard power here.
Freshly shaved.
I know. I got enough for both of us, so don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Eskimo Libertarian, Nalik Trupp here with us. Trupp with us here. You should have been there Tuesday, L. It was epic. He was fired up. Oh, on Tuesday. I was a little fired up on Tuesday. And it's like, wait, he says he was fired up on Tuesday. That was epic. And then Terry says, that was not him fired up. You should have seen him yesterday. Okay, maybe I've been a little rambunctious this week. Maybe
It's frustrating. Stuff is really hard. I mean, over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. It's getting really hard out there.
it is amazingly frustrating, and I get a lot of off-air conversations with people who contact me about problems they're having. I'm talking with a miner right now, an Alaska miner from up north of Fairbanks, and he's giving me the rundown on the abuse that he's being served right now by the federal government over stuff, and how he gets in front of a senator, U.S. senator, and the senator says, well, that's not right, and we should do something about it, and then nothing, then crickets, and can't get a response. And now they will, I mean, it's so frustrating to watch the overreach at every level, and the vindictiveness of bureaucracy. If you cross us, oh man, we're going to screw you right to the ground, and we've got the power to do it, and there's not a thing you can do about it. That's the kind of stuff that just
I'm a small business owner. I get it.
Oh yeah, I mean, exactly. That's the stuff that just makes your head explode, and you're like, how can this be true? How can it be just? How can it be right? And they're just like, well, that's just the way it is. Government has the power. Suck it up, Buttercup. And you're like, where's Sam Adams when you need him, kind of thing. Where's that discussion of the Sons of Patriotism and all this kind of, I mean, it's just like, wow, so frustrating.
And that's why I do work for You Are the Power, because that's what we fight against is,
right.
Helping that little guy, especially even at the local level. A lot of our issues have been like city, county, borough level type issues, and the amount of corruption that can be at that level, because people overlook it. A lot of people are looking to the presidential level or, at
Right.
the federal level.
It's bred in circuses, right? Look over here. Pay no attention to that.
Oh, yeah.
What can you do to affect presidential politics? pretty much close to that, right? You can do nothing, but you can have your one vote and that's it. But people are so consumed by the national level politics, they stop paying attention to what's going on in their own backyard, the stuff that affects them every day. And they just they're not even paying. And I think that's by intent, quite honestly. I think that's by intent.
Absolutely.
Brian, I do have to laugh at this. Brian says, laughed at the recent discourse between a random stranger and L about the correct term for Native Alaskans. I have seen so many people you can't say Eskimo. And I'm like, set your white guilt aside, okay? Let me just do that to begin with. Set your white guilt aside. She can do whatever she wants, but she is an So, I mean, it's just it's so amazing to watch these because you've gone through this several times. I've seen several of the little back and forths you've had in the past over this kind of stuff. But I do have to, I along with Brian, chuckle every time that comes up.
Especially since last time it was a Sri Lankan from New Zealand using the spelling of colonization, like the British spelling of colonization, telling me, an Alaska Native, I can't say that. And people I think when it comes to the etymology of Eskimo, people are misinformed. And although there are people of the Inuit tribe that prefer to be called Inuit, people are like, you have to call yourself Inuit. I'm like, well, I'm not Inuit. So we'll start there.
First of all, let's talk about that.
I'm Yupik.
Yeah. No, it's funny. And yeah, Harold, I talked about race because I love to watch her defend her position on this because it's so I gleefully watch these people crash and burn when they try and use their white guilt on her. I think that's hysterical. Plus, we're in the break. I'm not going to repeat a bunch of deep political talk issue stuff when we're in the break, okay? I should just ignore him, but I don't sometimes.
I think last time I accidentally said a cuss word during the break. So
yeah, well, during the break is much better than live on the air. It happens.
I figured that's why you didn't invite me back. No.
No, you're always invited. It's a problem, and I joked about this yesterday. I had a little bit of a train wreck yesterday at the beginning of the show, and it's like, I'm a one-man show. I mean, it's me. I'm the engineer. I'm the booker. I'm the guy. I'm the coordinator. I do everything. And they're like, well, why don't you get something? Well, because I don't make enough money on this show to be able to hire somebody to do all that stuff. That's the main reason.
But look at you go.
But, we're doing what we can do. We're just doing what we can do. But yeah, it is a little frustrating sometimes to do that. But if that's the worst thing that you do is say a little word every now and then off the air, I'm okay with that. All right, 10 seconds out. Let's get to it. Final segment with L, and we can get it done. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. Oh yeah.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Huh. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
That's right. Not your daddy. I got enough kids. I don't need any more. That's what it's all about. We got more coming up. Eskimo Libertarian joins us right now. Sorry, Nalik Trupp here, talking about. We've been talking about the Libertarian Party in the state of Alaska, and you also talked about during the break. You mentioned Power for the People, and I think that's an important thing to touch on. But one more time before we go to that, this a week from next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, MatSu Resort. It's Everett's right there in the Wasilla area at the MatSu Resort, right on the lake. Friday evening starting at 5, and then Saturday all day, and then into Sunday is the state convention. Anybody can come. Do they have to be a party member? Do they have to pay? Give me the rundown on that.
Yeah, so for folks that aren't registered or haven't paid and all that, I do encourage them to go to the social, which is on Friday. Anyone can come to that, especially if they want to learn more about the party. There will be issues that will be voted on during the business side. So on Saturday and Sunday, you do have to be a member of the Libertarian Party and pay dues and whatnot. You can handle that right now so that you can be a part of it. There's also information to register. You can go to AlaskaLP.org. We also have the option to join just the luncheon. So if you would like to come and have a wonderful lunch, we're going to have like halibut Olympia, and there'll be salad, and there's a dish I don't know how to pronounce, like chicken arrabbiata. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not fancy. I just had caribou soup last night, so I'm happy with that. But anyways, if you'd like to come to just the luncheon on Saturday, which will be noon, and which you will be speaking at, they can also register for just that as well, and they don't have to be a member of the Libertarian Party for that. Again, that's at AlaskaLP.org.
AlaskaLP.org. Okay. All right. So we can get, is there any bacon? That's what Greg says. Is there any bacon? I'm sure you could probably order a side of bacon with your halibut Olympia, Greg. I'm sure that's how it is. All right. So you're also working with Spike Cohen and others in the Power to the People group, which also, as you were talking about during the break, deals with a lot of national, but also local issues. I mean, local issues I really stopped focusing on national issues on this program about 10 years ago because, well, I guess that's a misstatement. I would say 7 years ago, I guess, because, we can't really affect them. And it's frustrating to watch people forget about what's happening in their own backyard, their cities, their communities, their cities, their boroughs, and the state, which is about where I believe you can reach as far as that is. And I find that frustrating. But you are working with Spike, so tell us a little bit about. It's not Power to the People; it's You Are the Power, right? I'm sorry.
Yes,
It's
you are the power.
So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about You Are the Power and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, Spike Cohen a lot of times says, I'm Spike Cohen and you are the power. So he actually has a nonprofit called You Are the Power. Pretty much, we work with folks that have been butting heads against local government. We've dealt with things as serious as there was Joshua Rohr over on the East Coast. He was a homeless veteran that was walking the street. He was roughed up by police. They actually tased his dog, lost his service. This is a service dog, by the way, not just his pet dog, his service dog. Tased his dog, lost track of his dog. The poor thing actually ran into traffic and was hit and died while he was being detained by police. And so we had to fight against that. Those officers were then, after pressure, let go from their precinct. I think they're actually working at a new precinct now. But
Of course they are.
right,
Of course they are.
right. And then there was also Nathan Harmon. It's not just up against police; it's all levels of government. There's been some more serious ones too. Families in the Georgia area that are being ripped apart by CPS, and they shouldn't be. For example, there are families where I'm trying to remember the name of the family. So pretty much, they had a little girl. The little girl had a health condition where they easily got sick, got hurt. CPS took them away after they went to the hospital due to a broken bone, and said, they're abusing their child. It's like, no, they have this medical condition, and they have to see the doctor often because they are easily hurt. And so, uh, trying to reunite families, fight against government corruption at all levels. Yeah, it's pretty much what it does.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of good work, and like I said, I'm working to get Spike back on the program. It's been a while. I think the last time we talked to him was when he was running for president. I think is the last time we had him on the program, or
Vice president.
vice president rather. I elevated him. It was
People want him to run for president.
I gave him a promotion. What are you going to do?
That's okay.
I think that was the last time I had him on the program, but I definitely am looking forward to getting him on and talk more about these issues because, again, we've got to pay attention to what's happening at the local. It's trickle up, right? I mean, it really is. When we say grassroots, that's what we mean is that trickle up effect of people affecting changes in their community. You're much more likely to be able to affect change in your community and make that change there. And that in turn, if you can get several communities together, then you could change a borough or a county. And then if you get several boroughs together, maybe you can change things in the state. And it's that trickle up effect that we need to work on. And again, to remind people and to show people, when you start showing people how invasive government has become, how inculcated it is into every aspect of your life, and you show them piece by piece. I've watched people's eyes go wide when I start talking about this stuff, because they have no idea. They're just blasé, like, oh, it's all fine. I just pay my one set of taxes. Oh, and I pay my sales tax. Oh, I pay my property taxes too. Oh, and I pay so I do pay a few taxes, but they don't think about every other part that is regulated and controlled and taxed, that they just don't think about. And that's when people really get they really get to that point of understanding. And that's what we need to do, is open those eyes.
Yeah, and not only that, there's been a lot of times where government abuses their power. They don't actually have the power to do things, even though they are doing it anyways, and that's been a lot of our cases. Uh, fighting, there's no one fighting against that. There's no accountability. Well, now you are the power is there to be that accountability. We fill up city halls, county halls, we show up to the meetings, and we make people heard. There's also been issues of eminent domain. There was a convalescent home that was in the middle of town, and there were people that were on the assembly that had businesses around that convalescent home. Well, they wanted to use eminent domain to knock it down, create a parking lot for their businesses, not just their businesses, but their spouses' businesses as well. And so we filled that hall. We held protests. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stop that, but it has inspired others that are fighting against that same eminent domain type issue and had success in their own situations.
Yeah, it's that's the kind of stuff that just frustrates you. I mean, we could talk about the whole squatter situation right now, and blood would shoot out of my eyes at this point. You know, the landlords having squatters, and homeowners actually getting arrested for changing locks on their own homes because squatters moved in and being arrested. It's maddening, but that's the state of where we live in right now. All right, Eskimo Libertarian Nalik Trupp is here with us. We're talking about the convention, which again is coming up next Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the MatSu Resort. Everett's at the MatSu Resort. Final thoughts, Elle. Give me your final thoughts here today. We're about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I really encourage folks to look outside of the duopoly. Are you happy with how you are living today? Are you happy with how Republicans and Democrats have ruled your lives? At least come check out the Libertarian Party. It's a different ideology. We have a social. You're welcome to come and ask questions. Even during the convention, you're allowed to come and see how business is done. Information about like the itinerary and how to register is at AlaskaLP.org. And I really encourage folks to vote with your conscience, because libertarians are winning. We're winning at the local level, and we're increasingly getting bigger and bigger offices and actually reducing government and getting it out of your lives.
All right, Eskimo Libertarian, thank you so much. Hold the line for a second, folks. We're out of time. We got to go. Hour 2 dead ahead. All right, Elle. I hated to rush you. That was
That's okay.
Really, all right, so I give you the last bite at the apple here. Last few minutes. Your elongated elevator pitch to everybody out there. I mean, I just would love to see more people break the mental block that they have, that mold of, oh well, it's got to be party donkey or party elephant. That's it. And I'm just like, dude, get the armadillo, just the hedgehog, whatever animal we're choosing, the porcupine, the rattlesnake. I mean, choose something else. Choose something else and stop just giving in to to what everybody says you have to do. I mean, it's very much a function of my belief that you can't tell me what to do that has led me to be a libertarian for my entire life. And I think people need to break that dichotomy. So I'll give you the final word here on the way out.
Yeah, I think people should really look to libertarianism, because it's like actually critical, even of our own people. There isn't a blind loyalty. We talk about, you're not libertarian enough, but when people are out of line and asking for more government, libertarians will be critical. and say, hey, that's not what we're for. And so I don't think we see that enough. There isn't enough policing of the party. I mean, they do it for self-interest, but libertarianism is policing for the principle of the party. That's why you see a lot of infighting. It's like, hey, that's not libertarian. You shouldn't be promoting, more taxes, more influence, more, what have you. So I think that's why there can be contention, but it's for the right reasons, usually.
Yeah. So you
At
got
least built to social media.
you got Party Blue, which is like all kumbaya and holding hands and communal, and then you got the Republicans who are, infighting and doing things, but they're mostly for the preservation of their power. And then you got the Libertarians who are like, squabbling in the middle over what color the something should be sometimes, But it's rugged individualism, right? I mean, the ultimate expression of individualism, in my opinion, is kind of that libertarian ideal of leave me alone. Let me, as long as I'm not hurting anybody else, let me do my thing. That's all I'm saying. As long as, just let me do my thing. As long as I'm not hurting anybody else, what difference does it make to you? And
Exactly.
I think that's what attracted me to this whole thing from the very beginning was I am very much a rugged individualist and I've always been so. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. You damn sure better not tell me what to do at that point. So, it's frustrating. But thank you for all your work. Thank you for the memes. Again, I know with the new baby that you've slowed down a little bit on that, but I'm
It
looking.
happens.
There are things that are more important than memes, but it's fun to go and look at the things you've done, and I appreciate it. So thank you for all your hard work, and thank you for inviting me. I will be there on Saturday for the luncheon to I guess say a few words about something. It'll be, I think Rob Myers said something like the three different groups you never give an open mic to are politicians, preachers, or radio talk show hosts, and you're about to make the classic mistake: never fight a land war in Asia or give a radio show host an open mic. So it'll be interesting.
You're
So,
welcome.
anyway, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. It'll be thing. And yes, keep the videos with Carla coming. And just, keep up the good work is all I can say. So thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here and being part of it. Get back to that baby and enjoy yourself. The times they go fast. It goes fast. Okay. I'm just, like that. It'll be like, oh. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
We'll see you later. All
Let's
right.
see.
Bye. Eskimo Libertarian, Nalik Trupp, here on the program, talking about the Libertarian Party stuff. Oh, man. It's good to be amongst my people. I got to tell you, it's good to be amongst my people. I like that. I enjoy it. So what else we got here? I'm seeing what you guys are going through here. Trump will end Social Security. He stated as much. Well, I mean, maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. We're ending Social Security. We could have access to do things with our own money instead of having the government take such a huge percentage every month right out of your own paycheck and then refuse to give it back to you down the line. Yeah, lead to liberty. Libertarian lady just said, yeah, the biggest Ponzi scheme ever created. I mean, you go back and look at the foundational discussion and where Social Security came from, and you realize that it came out of the Bismarck's Germany, and he had intentionally made it because he knew that most people would die before the age of 65 or whatever the original age was. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was a government. It was another form of taxation. That's really what it was all about. All right, I'm going back through here. Is there anything else that I missed? Anything else that I didn't get through? Do a Bass Pro Shop ad. Okay, well, yeah. If we can get the Canadian company that owns some of these people to, jump on board, but no, they're not going to like what I have to say. They're never going to be big corporate sponsorship of this show because no, that would never happen. They wouldn't be able to deal with me. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, but without government, who will care for us? We will be forced to wander in the wilderness. The sarcasm font is pretty strong. You might want to check that filter there, Brian. Pretty strong on your filter this morning. Pretty small on your filter. All right. Let's continue. We got more coming up. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Why did that do that? Let's do that. There we go. That was so loud. All right, we're going to be back in a moment. The Michael Duke Show, common sense radio.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Oh, yeah. Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Wow. Just had a fantastic conversation with Eskimo Libertarian, Nalik Trupp, who is with the Alaska Libertarian Party. We're talking about their convention, which is happening next weekend in Wasilla at the MatSu Resort, the Everett's there at the MatSu Resort. And it's going to be a fun time. I hope to see some of you out there on Saturday for sure for the luncheon or for the social on Friday. But it should be a good time will be had by all. It was a great discussion. And if you missed it, you can go back and listen to it on the podcast, which is available wherever you find great podcasts, including, yes, Spotify. My favorite is Spotify. So you can go out there and listen, or you can go back and watch the replay on that. There was a comment in the chat room right as we came back, which I'm gonna mention here, but we're gonna talk about this tomorrow because I could not disagree. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about this hour, but I could not let this comment go. And we're gonna talk about this tomorrow for sure. And it's frustrating. Jeannie in the chat room says bump stocks were low-hanging fruit, and it was an appropriate response to a horrible mass shooting. Trump, he said but it's Trump hasn't taken or restricted any firearms from anyone. I could not disagree more with that statement. It was not an appropriate response. And he hasn't taken or restricted any firearm from anybody, but he said right at that press conference, we will take the guns and worry about due process later. If that doesn't cause chills to run right up your spine, or cause your heart to stutter just a little bit, we have a problem. That is, I could not disagree with that comment more, but since it's a firearms thing, we will talk about it more tomorrow. And discuss it there. Okay. On today's program here in hour 2, I am first and foremost opening up the phone lines for you to discuss, well, whatever it is you want to talk about right now. 907-433-3150, 907-433-3150. If you would like to sound off, I'd love to hear what you have to say about anything this morning as we figure these things out and talk about solving all the world's problems on a morning radio show. We'd love to hear from you. Again, 907-433-3150. What do I have to talk about today? Specifically, there's a lot of things, but first and foremost, I would like to say that Justice justice is about to be served. And it all starts, and I think it all came about because tonight at 5:30 in Fairbanks is an emergency meeting of the Fairbanks North Star Borough School Board. 5:30 tonight. Why is that? Well, it's because of the behavior of the president of the school board, Brandy Hardy. The reasoning that they've given for the meeting, the agenda item is board member relations and conduct. This meeting may include a possible executive session with legal counsel to discuss attorney-client communications or matters which may tend to prejudice the reputation and character of a person, provided that that person may request a public discussion. And that, of course, is an immediate reaction from the letter from the Interior delegation to the school board that demanded an immediate retraction and apology. And if I remember correctly, they suggested that she be removed from her position as president for her behavior at the school board meeting a week ago, which we've talked about a couple times here in the last week because it's a very, very important issue. For those of you who aren't caught up on this, during the meeting, the school board meeting last week, after the vote that was taken in the legislature, where they declined to override the governor's veto, Brandy Hardy got up from the podium, from the presiding officer's chair, had this to say about members of the Interior delegation.
To the other representatives, Representative Tomaszewski, Senator Myers, Representative Kronk, and I slightly give Representative Prax a pass because he didn't vote for it to begin with, so at least you stood by your vote. I am so utterly disappointed. Fairbanks deserved better. You are part of our community, and we were clear what we needed, and you let us all down. And I've heard rumors, and mind you, they're rumors, so newspapers in the audience, I'm fully aware, and don't quote me on it, that you might have sold us down the river for a $70,000 campaign donation. I hope it was worth it.
I was fine with everything she said right up to the point to where she cast aspersions on their character about taking bribes, which is essentially what that would have been. That would have been a felony to take a bribe, to have a vote. I guess unless you're in a binding caucus, then they can coerce your vote and give you better things for your vote if you do it. But that's the only thing. That's the only way you can avoid the whole federal felony, I guess, is to be in a binding caucus. Now they demanded the apology. And Brandy Hardy yesterday issued a formal apology. But did she really? I mean, did she really? In her letter, Hardy said she is a passionate advocate for school education and that she misspoke. Quote, as the president of the Fairbanks North Star Borough School Board and a passionate advocate for public education, I acknowledge and apologize for my recent statement made during my president's report at the Tuesday, March 19th school board meeting. She said, in my disappointment regarding the impact of the failed veto override of SB 140, I unintentionally misspoke. Did you really? Was that an unintentional, or did you intentionally speak? Come on, words matter. I unintentionally, you could have said anything. I unintentionally, she didn't intend to do it apparently. So that makes it all better. She said, for that, I apologize to Representative Frank Tomaszewski, Rep. Will Stapp, Rep. Mike Prax, Rep. Mike Pronk, and Senator Rob Myers. This is my second year on the school board and my first term serving as an elected official. I know I'm going to make mistakes, and I have no issue owning up to them when they happen. Although you apparently do have an issue owning up to them where, instead of saying I intentionally misspoke, you should have said, I should not have said that. It was a rumor, and I should not have passed that on. but I was overwhelmed with emotion and I did it and I apologized. Not I unintentionally misspoke. That is some wishy-washy stuff there, in my opinion. She continues by saying, I remain resolute in my commitment to the well-being and success of our Fairbanks schools. Access to quality education is a constitutional obligation of the state, and I will continue to advocate tirelessly to ensure that our schools receive the resources they need to thrive. As a teacher, as a mother of 2 elementary-age children, as a military wife, my only agenda is for Fairbanks to have the best education system they possibly can. Okay, well, great. That's all good. That's all good. I've got no problem with that. But again, that's a real mealy-mouthed apology. I should not have said that. I should not have passed a rumor. I should not. You knew it was a rumor. You told the reporters in the audience not to report on it. Thank God there was an actual video of the actual event because the newsminer didn't say a thing about it. But, oh, don't worry. They're the paper of record for Fairbanks. They've got it all scored away. Now, if Melissa Burnett or some other more conservative voice had said something like that, it would be front page freaking news. But guys, don't worry. So anyway, emergency meeting tonight at 5:30. I would recommend that if you have a few moments, you may want to spin on by just to maybe be in the room, and maybe if they give you a chance to have public testimony. I don't know if there's going to be public testimony at this meeting or not, but at least you could stand there and be like, really? She needs to not be the presiding officer. I got to say, her behavior and this inadequate, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I haven't spoken to anybody else about it, but in my humble opinion, this inadequate apology does nothing to soothe this problem. It is weak and limp. I unintentionally misspoke. No, you intentionally used that rumor as a way to bludgeon these people. You should have just said, basically, I should not have said that. I should not have given voice to a rumor. I was emotional, or I was overwrought, or I was passionate, or whatever you want to say about it, but I should not have said it. Period. Full stop. I unintentionally misspoke. Anyway, so tonight, 5:30, there you go. There you go. We'll see what happens with that tonight. But I expect that we may find tomorrow that there is a new school board president that's going to be coming up. All right. I've got some other things to talk about. This education thing obviously causing some real problems. A shouting match devolved in the House Education Committee, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But first, I do have one line on hold, and so I guess we'll go over there and start with that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Mike. My name is Mike, and I'm calling from Fairbanks.
Good morning, Mike. What's on your mind?
So, Brandy is a good union soldier. She's on the school board to promote the union and money to the union. The bill that Dunleavy vetoed would have been a big bonus for teacher salaries, which would have been a big bonus for union bank accounts. That's why he vetoed it, and that's why he wants bonuses, because bonuses don't go into union bank accounts. And this whole deal, that what Brandy said about bribes, supposedly that started with Zach Fields. Zach Fields is also a good union soldier. I bet that Zach colluded with Brandy for her to say that and get it out on the record to tarnish the reputation of those men that didn't vote for
the problem with that. I mean,
that's my comment.
Well, I mean, it may be your thoughts, but I mean, there's no proof of that they colluded. I mean, she could have read it just like anybody else, but the talking point was in the community because of Representative Fields, who says he stands by that comment, says that it's true. He stands by it, which again is there's no proof at all that anything like he said happened. But even that, her twisting of that, because he said basically that his comment is that Governor Dunleavy had said that any Republican that fights this is Zach Fields now. His comment was that he had heard that the governor said if anybody voted against his veto, that he would contribute $70,000 to an opponent of theirs to make sure that they lost the campaign. Now, there's no proof of any of that, but then to spin it and say it's a $70,000 campaign contribution is a whole nother thing. But, I don't see any collusion here. Maybe people of like mind. Yeah, I can see people of like mind, but I don't see them talking about it in a dark room, Mike. But anyway, it's I understand you're frustrated. And
okay, thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. There will be public testimony tonight. They will be taking public testimony tonight. They can't take an official vote until Tuesday because of the Open Meeting Act rules. And so if you want to have your voice and your thoughts heard on this, 5:30 tonight, go out there and check it out. It'll be good stuff. All right, we're up against the break. We got to go. We're going to continue here in just a moment. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We will return with more here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Your phone calls, if you'd like to call in and talk about this, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. 907-433-3150. 907-433-3150. We continue in just a moment.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes.
Allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Let me go back here. Jeannie's still talking about that. We'll talk about that tomorrow, Jeannie. I'll be honest with you. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't believe it is conflation, but I guess to each his own. Maybe they should look into Zach Fields instead of Maybe they should look into Zach Fields instead of bullying constituents. They're not bullying constituents. It's an elected official from a presiding officer's position. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. Where is our PFD? Time to heckle her at this meeting. She needs to go. I don't think her intentions. Donna says, I don't think her intentions protect her from slander. I unintentionally misspoke. That really doesn't, And yes, she may be echoing something that Zach said, but Zach's not the one that is on trial here, I guess, for that right there. He didn't call people out by name. That's part of the problem here. Let's see. Here we go. Zach Fields never claimed our legislators committed a crime. Only Brandy did this. That's exactly it. Okay. I think I'm caught up. Words have consequences. She needs to pay the price again. And especially with the weak sauce apology, quote unquote, apology for sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens tonight, but there is going to be public testimony. So there you go. Let's get her done. Okay. I'm all caught up. Look at that. It's beautiful. Hey, we got one line on hold. Let's go over there and get their name and where they're calling from, and then we will put them back on hold, and we will they'll be first when we come back from the commercial break. How about that? Good morning. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Good morning. Welcome to Fort Worth. Morning.
Good morning.
Michael.
Yes.
All right. I guess I'm unmuted and I was going to the gate. I just want to talk about English language with vocabulary and the
Okay.
words I use.
All right.
What I hear, I need to clarify.
Yep. Okay, hold on. Is this Bubba? Is that who this is? It sounds like Bubba. So, right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Hold the line, Bubba. I'll be right back. You'll be first up through the. You'll be first. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We'll be to you here in just a hot second. All right. Coming up tomorrow is Firearms Friday. Firearms Friday. And I'm excited about it. Who was I? I invited somebody. Who did I invite to come speak? This week. Man, this week. Just, who else? Odds of going through the gate. What are the odds? If you're elected, says Harold, you're going to be subjected to public discourse. Weak, thin-skinned legislators, the thin-skinned caucus. Hey, look, you could take all kinds of slings and arrows, but when you're accused of a federal crime, that raises the bar quite a bit. I mean, I know you're just trolling to troll, but at some point, the ridiculousness of those kind of statements is, we all expect that when I would take some of those slings and arrows, but if somebody accused me of a federal crime, I would probably also be moving in the same direction of, that's a little slanderous. That's just a little, words have, she stated it was a rumor. Okay. Yeah. That makes it all better. Then, So when exactly did you stop beating your wife? I'm just wondering for, that. It's the same kind of thing, man. All right, here we go. Jumping back in, the Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
Okay, so we're going to continue here and keep talking about stuff and things. Big showdown in the legislature in the House Education Committee. We'll talk about that first. But Bubba is on the line from North Pole, and he has a few things to say about vocabulary and language. Let's see what he's talking about. Good morning, Bubba. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Michael. As I'm understanding this, Governor Dunleavy, according to the rumors, said that if you were a Republican that didn't deal with his veto the way he wanted you to, he wasn't going to give you $70,000. He was going to give it $70,000 to an unnamed person that's going to run against him, that help them in their political. Is that accurate? He didn't say he was going to reward these people. He was just going to punish these people.
Right, exactly. That was the point. He said that if you didn't uphold his veto, he was going to contribute. This is the rumor that Zach Fields has been espousing, that the governor had said he was going to contribute $70,000 to the campaign of your opponent, essentially, if you were a Republican and you didn't vote to uphold the veto. So you are correct in that assertion.
So there is no bribe there. So, and I stand by Mike Prox and Rob Myers and all of them. I stand by them. They have integrity, especially when you start dealing with things like not going with the caucus that you had to be a part of, or you didn't get any offices or any chairmanships in that. And you got Mike Showers and you got Rob Myers and you got Shelley Vance.
Shelley Hughes.
They said before the election, "Oh, we will not be a part of it." And guess what? They stood to their guns afterwards. And the consequences are there, but they're people of character. You know, what they do when nobody's looking, that is what true character is.
Right. And vocabulary matters. I mean, when
That's
you
just
say
my 2 cents
when
worth.
your vocabulary matters, you mentioned vocabulary earlier. I mean, that it does matter. When you say unintentionally, when I unintentionally, I mean, that was a very intentional thing to say. It wasn't unintentionally, and you didn't misspeak. You passed a rumor, and it doesn't excuse you because you said, "Oh, this is a rumor," but I'm going to repeat it. That's not unintentional. That's very intentional. And you could say whatever you want, but again, that's a pretty, in my opinion, and you could tell me yours, I think that's a pretty weak apology.
Oh, that's not an apology. That's to save their face. They didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I've got a stepson that his mother tells him, go down and apologize to your stepdad. And he comes out, I'm sorry. Well, no, he's not sorry. He's doing what his mother told him to do. But there's no emotion behind it.
Right.
If he was sorry, he wouldn't need to be told by his mother.
Right.
The other thing is, finally, I get off of here. The school board, we have very low results in our education of our students. And everybody's all upset about these charter schools. Oh, and how wonderful they're doing. We need to get a union for and I'm not a union person, but we need to get a union for the charter schools so they could say, look, you guys need to either stand up to our standards or, go back and pound sand. Why are we trying to dumb our people down? Why can't we raise our public school people up?
Because
money isn't going to do it.
Well,
for the teachers.
Come on, Bubba. That's because they want everybody to be equally miserable. That's the whole point here. It's forced equality, where everybody it's equity in outcomes, so that everybody is equally ignorant at the end. If you see somebody that's stepping up and doing a better job, you nail them down with a hammer because that would be unfair to the kids who aren't doing better in the other schools. And why, oh, why would you ask for another union at this point? Please don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh.
That's just one more. So, all right. Well,
I just think it's another case of outcome-based education.
Well, that's true. Again, equity and outcomes. That's what they're trying to do there. All right, Bubba. Well, thank you so much for your call. Appreciate you calling in this morning. 907-433-3150. 907-433-3150. If you would like to sound off, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Matthew says in the chat room from YouTube, he says, the governor essentially said, if you don't agree with me, I will support other candidates for office. He said, that's what everyone does every time they vote. It's true. And I don't know where Fields, he won't say where he said from a Republican source or whatever he said in the thing, and stands by it that it's true. It's just madness. This is, again, sure. I mean, he could say he will support other candidates for office, but again, that does not equate to a bribe for the people who voted with him. That's not what it was all about. And so again, unintentional misspeaking. Yeah. Okay. I got another line on hold. I'm going to get to you here in just a second, but I do want to touch base on this thing, with the House Education Committee. Apparently, two members of the majority, C.J. McCormick, who's a Democrat in the majority, and Jamie Allard, got into a bit of a tiff. Apparently, C.J. lost his temper and started screaming at Jamie, and she apparently pushed back on the fact that he was wearing a button during the committee hearing that was touting the $1,413 base student allocation number, which was probably not appropriate, I would say, for sure, especially as a co-chair of the education committee. Probably not a good call as far as that goes. But the paper points out that this is just, again, another example of maybe some of the fissures and rifts that are developing in the majority. We knew this majority was going to be hard. We knew this majority, because it's made up of rural Democrats and Republicans, was going to have some differences. And here's another place that you see it as well. And it is frustrating. But I mean, come on, the gamesmanship, it should not happen. And I'm sorry, CJ is not one of the, he's not a chair. I apologize. It's Ruffridge and Allard, I think, are the co-chairs of the education committee, if I'm not misspeaking there. Anyway, we'll continue to discuss that. I do have a couple lines on hold, so let's jump over there and get started and see what you guys have to say. 907-433-3150. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Randy in Fairbanks.
Randy, go ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of Jamie Allard, I appreciate her because she's one of the people who voted against House Bill 17. House Bill 17 was passed actually by the House on March 21st, and I'm against it. What it does is it mandates that all health insurance companies in Alaska have to offer contraceptive coverage for everybody, whether they want it or not, and also it has to be for a 12-month segment, because Obamacare already mandates that, but I guess what House Bill 17 did, or 17 did, is it kind of went to 12 months instead of 3 months. But I just don't think that that's right for the House to double down on a mandate like that. I think that insurance companies should not have to provide that if they don't want to. You know, it's just up to the customer and the insurance company if they want. They can if they want to. But I think insurance basically is something that should be just for catastrophic events that both the customer and the insurance company do not want to happen, but that sometimes does happen. You know, rarely something bad happens, and that's why we have insurance. But it did pass, unfortunately. I think it still has to go to the Senate, but it did pass 29-11. But 11 good Republicans, good in my view, voted against it, and those Republicans were Jamie Allard, Ben Carpenter, David Eastman, Delana Johnson, Kevin McCabe, George Rauscher, Dan Sadler, Will Stapp, Kathy Tilton, Frank Tomaszewski, and Sarah Vance. So I thank them for their vote.
All right, Randy, thank you for your call. I appreciate you calling in and sounding off on this. Let's go over here one more call before we go to break. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Bonnie, North Pole.
Hello, Bonnie. What's on your mind?
I'm going to speak about the school board that has been going on.
Okay, go ahead.
Miss Allard, I guess that's her name, the one that...
No, Hardy. Brandy Hardy.
Slammed all our representatives.
Yeah, you're talking about Brandy Hardy.
The latest disease we have in this... Hello?
I can hear you. Brandy Hardy, the school board president, is who you're talking about.
Yes. It's just the latest disease we have in the country of people who are in power. And if you speak back against them, then they're going to say and slam you about anything they can make up. That's the way lately it's been going. Everything lately in this world is like a disease. I mean, I know that a lot of people don't like Mr. Trump, but look what they did to him just because he spoke out about something, and now he's been slammed this way and that way. It's just the disease of it all. It's people, they don't like what you say or you don't agree with them, then they're going to call you child molesters, and that you raped your mother, or you bribed somebody.
Right.
And that's just what she did against just really makes me mad.
I can tell that you're a little wound up about it.
Somebody that, the Republican Party, that we worked hard to put those people in where they are. I just can't believe it. And I hope that they make her go away. That's my opinion. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, while they can't eject her from the school board, she can be stripped of the presiding officer position. And I think that's probably well, it's what should happen, because she should not be the presiding officer over that body, obviously, because she doesn't have the temperament for it. But I guess the only people that can bring her out, she would have to be recalled. The people in Fairbanks would have to recall her. So it's, but she could be removed from the presiding officer position. And maybe that's what should happen, I think is probably the correct answer there. All right. We got to move forward here. We got more coming up. The Michael Duke Show continues. One final segment dead ahead. We will be back with more in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Again, Common Sense, Liberty-Based, Free Thinking Radio. Your Thursday continues right here on The Michael Duke Show.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. We're going to say, we're going to continue this here in just a moment. I'm just looking through, okay, we're gonna talk about that here in just a second. See what else you guys have been talking about. I'm going back here to see if there's any comments that I missed, and see what to see what's going on. Again, Donna Ardwin said, I don't think her intentions protect her from slander, to which somebody echoed, well, she's just echoing what Zach said. But the problem is that's not exactly true. This is what Zach Field said. He said, Dunleavy threatened to campaign and spend $70,000 per race against any Republicans who voted to override the veto. That's what he said. He threatened to campaign and spend $70,000 per race against any Republican who voted to override. He didn't say he would give them $70,000 for their campaign if they voted with them. He said he would he would campaign against them. So what she said is, I mean, even if his statement was 100% factually accurate, she didn't say what he said. She said the exact opposite, that Dunleavy would be giving money to politicians for voting instead of campaigning against them for voting against his bill, which again does not excuse her actions, her behavior, or her comment. So it's a whole thing there. And David Nees does point out that yes, if she won't quit, the Fairbanks can recall her, but I don't think she's about to quit, quite honestly. In fact, somebody told me yesterday that who has a more working knowledge with her, who has more, said she won't quit. She wouldn't quit the president. She will be forced to resign. She will not resign on her own as president of the school board. She will have to be removed because of that's just her apparently tenacious nature. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that as we go through here. But tonight will be an interesting meeting. Just put it that way. I will probably be sitting in the wings on the online, watching it online just to see what happens, because it's going to be a hot mess. Let's just put it that way. Okay. What else do we want to get in here? I want to talk about, there's a bond issue in the MatSu that I wanted to discuss. The proposal on on Sarah Vance's bill, working on protecting children, the child trafficking screening bill is now roadblocked. And I wonder in a way if that was part of the intention here. Maybe that's just my cynicism at work, but I've got some questions about that. I'm thinking that may be part of the problem. So we'll talk a little bit about that. and the fact that the legislative hearing on prison deaths was delayed and canceled. This is the one that the ACLU was going to come in and testify about. But there was a procedural objection by Kevin McCabe that we'll talk about here and see what happens there. Again, this could cause some a little more friction in the legislature on that. So we'll consider that and talk about that as well. And anything else we'll see what's going on. All right. Wow, Terry pulls no punches. Terry pulls no punches on her feelings about Brandy Hardy. I don't think, but I will disagree. I don't think she's dumb. I think she is passionate, and I think a little bit of naive to think that she could just say whatever she wants from the podium and not be held accountable for the actions, whether that's legally liable or whether it's just liable in the fact that she could lose her position. I think that there's plenty of stuff to talk about there with that. All right, we're down to the last 50 seconds here of the break, and we're going to come back to this here in just a moment. I hope that you guys are liking the show wherever you're watching it, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I hope you're sharing it with other people because that's the only way. We need to get more people involved in this conversation. If you're enjoying my discourse, if you're enjoying my commentary, share it with other people. Let's get other people involved. It's what we need to do. And I can only do that with your help. I only have so broad a reach. But with your help, maybe we can get some more people involved. So like and share this show, regardless of which platform you're watching it on, or if you're listening on the podcast, go back and share that with your friends as well. Here we go. Let's do it. Okay. It's we're going to see what happens tonight, and we'll see what comes from the school board meeting, the emergency school board meeting. If you're in the Fairbanks area and you are as incensed as many people are about this, then you can go down and testify tonight at 5:30. And have your say on this. They're probably going to go, and I imagine they'll go into executive session to discuss parts of this. But you need to encourage them to have as much of the conversation in public as they possibly can. So it's a good thing. All right, final thoughts here as we get ready to wind down. We're about 10 minutes left of the program this morning. There's a couple other stories that I did want to touch on. One that, if you've listened to the show for very long, just burns my cookies. And that is the idea of bonding, more bonding. And even the red MatSu, one of the more conservative districts of the state, is they're not immune from this kind of behavior. The Fairbanks and North Star Borough School District wants voters in November to consider 2 new bonds, including one that would provide for up to $70 million for the construction or purchase of 5 charter school buildings. Now, I'm not opposed. I just want to be real clear here. I'm not opposed to charter schools or charter school buildings. They obviously have a better track record. They do a better job than the general brick and mortar schools. That's been shown statistically. It's not a bad thing. But I question, why aren't we talking about closing other schools and converting them to charter schools? Why are we always looking for more MOAR money for these kind of things? The bonds have got to be approved by the Borough Assembly before they head to the ballot. The $70 million charter school building bond would raise borough taxes by about $41 per $100,000 in value, which means that the average person in the MatSu would probably pay around $120 a year in taxes. Plus, they have another bond that's $15 million for major maintenance projects at schools, which, again, I have questions about the deferred maintenance that's going on in the MatSu borough. And I'd be the first to admit that I am not paying as close attention to the MatSu borough finances or politics as I did when I was in Fairbanks, because right now I'm focused primarily on state stuff. But it really worries me when we have to have another bond to take care of what should be, they call them major maintenance projects, but these are basic maintenance. Anybody that builds a building knows that they need to be accruing for maintenance of major maintenance and things like roofs and heating systems and things like that. All of a sudden, it's a big surprise. We need another $15 million for major maintenance projects in the schools. And it just bothers me that we just go ahead and bond for that. And when we should have been setting that money aside and probably were accounting for it or accruing for it, but instead the money got spent somewhere else on some other secret squirrel program that, somebody thought was more important than keeping the lights and heats on at a local school. And this is, again, here's my take on this. You do your own homework. You go out and look at it and make the decision for yourself. But this is why I am a no vote on every bond that comes across my ballot. Because I just, at some point you're going to have to starve the beast. At some point you're just going to be like, nope, I'm just not going to do this anymore. Until you guys can be shown to be accountable with what we've given you to begin with in the form of property taxes and everything else, until you can do well with what you have, why would I want to give you more? And again, going back to the chart, I applaud them for wanting to get up to 5 more charter schools. But the question is, how many buildings do we have right now and what are their capacities? How full are they? Can we consolidate and turn regular schools that we already own and have already paid for, or are in the process of paying for? Can we use those instead? I mean, I don't know. It's a question. It's something that we should be discussing instead of just throwing up another $70 million for the construction or purchase of 5 charter school buildings. I'm just not, and I'm really not a fan of these hugely bundled bonds where they bundle a bunch of stuff into a single bond. Because maybe I support one. I mean, who am I kidding? I don't support any of those things. But maybe I would be a person that would support one of 5 things that you have bundled into a bond. But now you're forcing me to vote for everything or nothing. Well, in that case, I'll be voting for nothing because, I just can't do that. But again, this is another tactic that boroughs have been doing across the state for years, where they bundle everything together into a single omnibus bond. And then, if you got things you like, it also has some things you don't like, and you just have to take this spoonful of medicine with the sugar because I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. $85 million in bonds coming up in November, potentially, if it passes the assembly out onto the ballot. It'll be there. So I'm just, how much more do we need to spend on education? How much more? Well, we've seen the House proposal, HB 264, which is the child trafficking screening bill. This is Sarah Bance's bill that she's been working on for quite a while. She has a real heart for people, and especially victims of trafficking and sexual abuse and crimes. And she had a bill that was fairly simple that would help alleviate and clarify some of the things in the screening processes and do things like that. And that, of course, was derailed last week when Representative Andrew Gray put forward an amendment that would change the state's legal age of consent from 16 years old to 18 years old with a simple handwritten amendment, that passed on the fly. But that created all kinds of problems. And we just talked about a few of them here on the program the other day, that really threw some things off, including changing that age of consent from 16 to 18 now means that anybody that, somebody who is 18 years old and has a boyfriend or girlfriend that is less than their age, that is between 16 and 18, and they, do the deal, they are, the older of the two is committing a felony. And I mean, that's just one of the complications here as well. Now, he argued that raising the age of consent is needed so that minors are not treated the same as adults in sex abuse cases and deter older men in positions of authority from having relationships with somebody under the age of 18. But how would that fix it if you move that consent age around like that? It doesn't make any sense. At some point I start to wonder, and maybe this is the cynic in me, I start to wonder if this is part of the problem, that this was intentional to delay this, because they knew that this would you had to know that this was going to create enough problems. You can't simply change a single number in a bill or in a statute and expect that there won't be ripple effects and ramifications for it, which there obviously are a lot of problems as well. Even those who voted for the amendment now worry about the amendment as it is currently written, which opens up the door for an 18-year-old who was intimate relationships with someone less than 4 years younger to be charged with a felony. Some lawmakers say this would work in conflict with Alaska's Romeo and Juliet provision, which does not criminalize such relationships. Even Andy Josephson, the Democrat, agrees the bill should be sent back to committee. He said the real problem is that we need to carry forward the other language on position of authority, because that's really what we were trying to say. We weren't surely trying to say that when 18-year-old Billy is intimate with 17-year-old Susie, that that should be a felony. That's sort of silly for obvious reasons, so we need to fix it. Well, but you knew that. I mean, anybody with half a brain could see that that was going to be a problem immediately. But you voted for it anyway, which again leads me back to the conclusion that this may have been intentional to delay this bill. Why? Because they're for child trafficking? No. But because it's Sarah Vance's bill and they don't want the Republicans to get a win in any way. They don't want them to have any kind of W's in this. It's just, again, maybe it's just me being cynical. Maybe that's not the truth. Maybe that's not how it is. But that's how I'm starting to see it, because anybody with half a brain that saw that amendment and understood the unintended consequences knew that it was going to create problems. Well, now the whole thing has been referred back to the to the House Rules Committee. So it may not pass this year because of that. And Sarah's been working on this for a long time. It's really a slap in the face to somebody who really cares in this community and is working hard, and it really is just a slap in the face. That's where I'm starting to think that this may be intentional, which would be sad, really sad. But I guess, hey, that's politics, right? The Michael Duke Show. Be kind, love one another, live well. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. But Mike, it's for the children. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on. Yeah, anyone with half a brain, and maybe I was meaning the Democrats at that point, but I mean, anybody knew that if you change that, it will have a ripple effect because it affects other parts of other laws. That's why you get a ballot initiative with 37 pages of stuff in it, because of all the different laws that one thing can affect. That's what happens. But again, I'm starting to think more and more that this was intentional. And I feel sorry for Sarah Vance, who's put so much hard work into that, quite honestly. And I feel sorry for the kids who could be affected or may have been helped by the passage of this new law. But we'll see what happens. All right, we got to go. We'll be back with more tomorrow. Firearms Friday, the Michael Duke Show. Common Sense Radio.
Goodbye.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.